George Cuff was brought in by the province of Alberta to prepare an audit of the city of Cold Lake. This after the city asked the province if it could dissolve back in September of 2009, citing a major funding shortfall and revenue discrepancies between both the MD and the province. Cuff's report made 21 different recommendations, but most importantly that the city of Cold Lake not be allowed to dissolve, pointing out that the governance of the city of Cold Lake is working, just not at its full potential. It went on to say that all parties should get serious about how they deal with one another.
But I think the three key municipal leaders need to sit down and say, let's start again and let's work on a constructive agreement. Let's ask our three CAOs to meet first and let's have them come up with some alternative solutions to move us forward. And then let's sit down as three councils and see whether or not we can come to some agreement.
After the meeting was over, Mayor Creig Copeland sat down to speak with our own Corleen Jarvis about his thoughts and feelings after just having the report presented to Council.
Mayor Copeland, if we can start off, what were your feelings after being presented with the report tonight?
Well, the report answered the question was, is the city of Cold Lake being governed, being operated right? And the answer was yes. So I think that's the real takeaway out of tonight, was that everything's fine, the way we manage the city, the way we govern it. Yeah, we have a few issues that we have to work on, like IT and that, but you know, overall, when you look at that, that's going to be a huge go forward for any future council. Is that's always thrown in our face here in the city of Cold Lake, that we spend our money, you know, excessively and all that. So today's meeting, that's now to bed, and our neighbors can't put that in our face anymore. So
yes, the city is being governed properly, but can we talk a little bit about your feelings after hearing the report? Well,
my feelings were, one thing it's another report out there that says raise the city of Cold Lake taxes by close to 20%. What they're saying is $2.3 million to, because of our infrastructure deficit. They've done some fancy graphs and that projections, and said that, you know, we need to find $2.3 million to help with the capital infrastructure problem we have. Well, that equates to, you know, about a 20% tax increase. That's disappointing. That's the third report in a row now by the province. And what it does, it sets a bigger message to all the municipalities, the urban municipalities across the province, that the solution to your problems is to continue to raise taxes. And you know, the municipalities only get 8% of the overall taxes that people pay, and the solution from the province is to raise their taxes. And so that was a disappointment, but not surprising. I feel that the inspection doesn't quite go into what's causing the issues of Cold Lake. I don't think that was their mandate, to understand the MD of Bonnyville, where they get their richness from the resource. The report didn't go into that in a big way. What they did was they pulled a bunch of comparators like Okotoks and Spruce Grove and stuff, and then put it in a table and did a lot of comparators. But they didn't go in and compare us to our neighbors, which is the town of Bonnyville, St. Paul, you know, into Saskatchewan and Lac La Biche, the MD of Bonnyville, St. Paul County, Lac La Biche County. They should have used those, should be what you're doing, because that's who we're competing with.
Several members of the public voiced concerns towards Cuff's conclusion that the city can become sustainable.
How do we become sustainable when we're going to see all of the new building being taken place in the MD? So our tax base, relatively speaking, goes down.
The development outside the city limits also concerns Copeland.
Well, what's happening right now is 3-to-1 houses are being built just outside the city of Cold Lake. And so here they're saying to raise the taxes further. Well, it's just going to, you know, more and more houses are going to continue to get built out in the rural countryside. Out in the counties, they're benefiting from the pipelines and from the M&E assessment. And so it's offsetting the cost of doing business in the municipality. The industry is paying for it. What we're saying is that there needs to be an equalization, a sharing of the assessment, so that both parties, both the rural and the urban, can benefit.
It did not address the disparity because that's not part of our terms of reference. All right, my report has to stick with terms of reference. Quite frankly, that's my client asking us, review this, here's the terms of reference. Do I agree? I agreed and I signed on. Are there other things I'd like to review? Probably.
The oil sands growth in our area is going to be huge, and we're just in the beginning. And somebody needs to come and look at this area. They need to look at Peace River, Swan Hills, Drayton Valley, and right now the province has to appoint that person, and we desperately need it.
Now, going forward, do you think you'll take this to the provincial level?
Yeah, definitely not going to stop lobbying the province. I'm willing to be on any kind of committee but I don't think I should. I think the province needs to study this issue. Let's not put it for the next election for the province. They need to come in here and deal with it now, and we're more than willing to give them, to help with the process.
After the break, Corleen will have more with Mayor Creig Copeland, including his thoughts on working with his neighboring municipalities. That's next on Around the Region.
Sustainability and disparity issues aside, the overriding message behind CUF's report is that the three parties involved need to work together to find solutions for their residents.
This council has to change in terms of its perspective with regard to the MD and sit down and say, how do we make this work given the present parameters? I think threatening the MD or threatening change or whatever is not going to work. So find a mechanism that works in the interim, and then if you have a longer term agenda, pursue the longer term agenda, but don't do it at the sacrifice of current situations.
Some of what Mr. Cuff said, he was wrong. Things have happened, and I don't know if he's done, would it be nice if Mr. Cuff would have given us some paragraphs and said, I'm going to make this statement, and then allowed us to say, hang on a minute, we've done all this, We've got emails to say that we tried to set up meetings, etc. Forming a relationship with the CIOs, Mayor and Reeve, we do this all the time. Yeah, we can approve it, and he's got to realize we've all been waiting. The MD and the City of Cold Lake have been waiting for 7 months for this report.
With that and moving forward, being that there is such a long history, what do you think the next step will actually be?
What we have to do is to bring in the MD of Bonnyville into the City of Cold Lake and understand our issues, whether it's building number 9, which is our major lift station, the force main lagoons, the community civic center, whether it's a new school getting built, whether it's the police station. All these things are stresses on our community, and we don't have the finances to do everything, and we're going to have to see if the MD of Bonnyville want to be partner.
What are you taking away from tonight's report?
The takeaway is that there's a document now, there's 3 documents now that council has that says we can raise taxes by 20%. It's an interesting 3 times now. So the next council has actually documentation sponsored by the province that says you could raise the taxes by 20%. It's dangerous in that future councils, if they don't raise the taxes to get up to that number, they're going to be handcuffed by the government in, say, 2015, 2020, when they readdress this issue. You're going to have a professional come in and say, well, back in 2010, they said that you should have raised taxes by 20%. So, that's a dangerous, that in that document saying 20%. The message by Mr. Cuff today and by the government is a lot of the urban municipalities right now, your only solution is to continue to raise taxes.
And what sort of message do you think that sends province-wide?
Province-wide is that the urbans will continue to struggle, the ones that are struggling like we are right now and don't have a high, basically a residential assessed-based municipality like the City of Cold Lake with Tasquin, are going to continue to struggle for a long time.
Over 100 people were in attendance showing concern for the city and support for the council.
It just shows you the interest, the following that the community has for this. And for the people that did stand up on the mic, we got tremendous support from the community, which we all on council appreciate. And I've never had anybody come up to me in my time and say that we're doing the right things. So it's so heartfelt. We really appreciate the support we're getting.
Thank you very much for taking the time to speak with us, Creig.
Well, thank you for covering the story. I think it's an important regional story.
After the break, we'll have Bryce Ashland Mayo in from Habitat for Humanity in Vermilion, and he'll have the latest on their upcoming build. That's next on Around the Region.